What's up guys, today we have a roll between two white belt mistakes alumni. On the show we have Aaron, who's now a fresh blue belt, which he received about 2 weeks ago. We also have Glenn, who was only a week into training for the first video, and now he has 4 months of training under his belt and recently received his first stripe. The point of this show is to highlight what these two do wrong and what they do right, so you can learn as you may be making some of these same mistakes. As always, I always super appreciate everyone who comes on the show to help jiu-jitsu practitioners all over the world. Before we start, I just want to remind you guys about my podcast, Jordan Talks Jiu-Jitsu. Every weekend there's a new episode, and every episode we dive deep into jiu-jitsu culture, etiquette, technique, history, and more. I absolutely love doing these with my blue belt co-host Uki Mike and longtime friend and black belt co-host Joey Boretsky. These videos that I make require a ton of time and effort and are made possible through patrons and sponsors. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow of Legends. If you've heard of Raid Shadow of Legends, you know it's got a ton of champions, over 600 now, but it's got an insane variety of bosses too, and let's put one of those guys in the spotlight today. The Minotaur is one of Raid's simplest bosses. His main mechanic is twofold. He will hex some of your champions to deal extra damage to them and deals bonus damage for 2 turns, but takes bonus damage on the 3rd turn. And there's a ton happening in Raid this month. They're bringing out 5 badass looking new champions that I can't wait to get my hands on. They're overhauling the Champions Vault, and they've got a load of awesome smaller updates as well. On top of that, Raid's running a huge series of Summer Splash events for the whole month, where you can get your hands on some incredible skins for everyone's favorite dwarf, Trundra. But wait, there's more. Raid's currently running a special Daliana chase event where you can get your hands on the amazing Daliana, a brand new legendary champion from the High Elves faction, just by logging in. All you have to do is log in and play Raid for 7 days between now and July 28th, and you'll get Daliana free. That's it. Daliana is one of the strongest support champions in the entire game, and you can carry your team to get past many of Raid's tougher challenges. You don't want to miss her. The gifts keep coming. All new players, listen up. Once you're in game, just enter promo code MyDaliana to get your hands on everything. Simple. Get 50 XP Bruce to instantly get your legendary hero Daliana to max level 50, as well as a ton of silver. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click my link in the description or scan my QR code here on the screen, you get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking free epic champion Rector Drath, 200k silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. All this treasure will be waiting for you here. The rewards will be available only for the next 30 days and only for new players. So let's get started with the roll. Right away they both take grips on each other's sleeves. Aaron takes a pistol grip, meanwhile Glenn takes a hook grip. I think Aaron would be better off with a hook grip, and Glenn would be better off grabbing the lapel and bringing his right foot in between Aaron's legs. One thing he could do is pummel his leg to the inside by compressing Aaron's shin with his knee and circling his foot. Aaron has 2 butterfly hooks, but he's not really in butterfly guard. From here it'll be hard to lift Glenn because a powerful butterfly sweep requires pushing off the mat with one foot and lifting with the other. What would be better from here is Aaron's feet on the hips for more of a true collar and sleeve guard, which is exactly what he transitions to. Aaron is pulling with the collar grip and pushing with his foot on the hip, which creates counter tension and makes it very difficult for Glenn to get around Aaron's legs to pass. Glenn is keeping his butt down, which is good because if he lifts his butt up, he'd be susceptible to balloon sweep or balloon sweep armbar like I do here. But because he's leaning back so much, he's susceptible to the tripod sweep, which Aaron goes for. It would have been cleaner if Aaron had hooked Glenn's left ankle with his instep of his right foot, but Glenn was controlling Aaron's leg, making it difficult, and he got the sweep anyways. Aaron should have fought harder to stay out of Glenn's closed guard. Closed guard is not a place you want to be, because now you need to break the closed guard first and then pass the guard. If he would have stayed out, he'd only have to pass the guard and not have to do the extra work to break it first. You can see Aaron thinks about reaching back but changes his mind. Reaching back like this puts you at risk of a triangle. Aaron has a bad habit of always wanting to grab the head and put people in Kesikatami, which is very risky to do from here because you risk getting your back taken. Glenn had the ability to take the underhook and use it to take the back and get to his knees, but didn't have the awareness or know-how to capitalize. Glenn could maybe done something like this, like you see me do here to Aaron, and grabbing the lapel makes the underhook even more powerful in a scenario like this. Rather than grabbing the head to do this style of pass, it's better to take an underhook or pass their wrist to the other hand. It's much lower risk and more technical to do it like this. He still got where he wanted to be successfully, which is Kesikatami, but against an opponent bigger, stronger, or more technical than Glenn, it might not have worked. Aaron goes for an Americana, but Glenn straightens his arm, so Aaron takes the straight arm lock instead. I know everyone's waiting for the Chewy roll, and it'll be up next week. These things just take time is all, so thank you for your patience. Aaron does a great job at taking grips with his hands, but not grips with his feet. Because he has no connection with his right foot, Glenn is able to make a bit of an angle on Aaron to pass before getting caught in his half guard. I'm pretty confident that Glenn could backstep from here to pass the guard, and if I were him, I'd back off and try to reset the position, because right now Aaron is fishing for that Kimura and Glenn doesn't address it in time. Here, if Aaron wanted the hip bump sweep instead of the Kimura, it'd be right there for him. He locks it up though, and the only thing that can make it even better is clamping down tighter with his elbow to really isolate the shoulder, and angling his hips more towards Glenn's head for increased range of motion to finish the Kimura. Glenn is smart to grab the pants and start creating an angle, otherwise known as a Toriando pass, but he'd have more success if you put Aaron on his back first, like you see me do here, and in this case I move my opponent rather than myself, but you can also move yourself rather than your opponent. It's just two different ways of basically doing the same thing. Aaron hooks Glenn's leg to prevent Glenn from getting more of an angle, and if I were Aaron, I would try and keep my legs extended for as little time as possible. I pull my knees to my chest as I pull Glenn with me. It's often a great idea to break grips, but because Aaron is sitting up, nothing is stopping Aaron from coming up as Glenn takes his grips off of him to address the collar grip. Look how when I do it, my feet are on the mat and my opponent's feet are off the mat and unable to come up. When you break grips, you need to make sure you're still controlling your opponent's mobility. Aaron does a great job of staying out of closed guard this time. Keeping at least one knee off the mat helps prevent closed guard because your torso is further away from their legs, and your knee or knees are in the way. Glenn should have taken this opportunity to take an underhook for himself and use it to escape. Even now he's still good to go because his elbow is on the inside and he has everything he needs to work an underhook escape like you see me do here. I lead with my elbow to take the underhook, and this escape was available because I had proper elbow positioning. Your ability to escape lessens and their offensive threat increases when your elbow is isolated like Aaron has Glenn's elbow now. This is very bad and you need to prevent it to not get destroyed in side control. I'm not sure what happened here, but we'll keep going. Glenn thinks about the collar and pant grip, which is a great choice, but decides on double pant grips, which is also a great choice. This time he clears the legs, but he hasn't passed yet as Aaron's still keeping him away with his frame, using his right arm and then uses it to reverse Glenn. Aaron's legs are in pretty decent position and can defend against a bridge if Glenn decides to try to bump hard into him, but then Aaron moves his legs closer to Glenn's legs, making it so he can't drive back into Glenn as he bridges. Both Aaron and Glenn hit re-rolls, not sweeps. Sweeps need to come from your guard. Because Glenn was in side control when he reversed positions, it would not be considered a sweep and he would not get sweep points in a tournament. The reason these balloon sweeps aren't working is because Aaron is trying to lift his feet too far away from his hips. Look how I shoot myself underneath my opponent so my feet and his weight are directly above my hips. This is called loading their hips and makes sweeping much easier. Glenn should really look to stand up and step over Aaron's right leg into headquarters. It looks like Aaron is about to transition into an omoplata but finishes with a straight arm lock instead. Let me know what belts you'd like to see next up against each other. Aaron takes another pistol grip, which isn't bad. I just think it's not as strong of a grip as a hook grip where you have your fingers wrapped around the outside of the sleeve. Now he's back looking for a tripod sweep, and the only thing that he could do a little better is hook the ankle with his right foot rather than the back of Glenn's knee. Aaron should look to switch his grip from a grip on Glenn's cross side lapel to Glenn's near side lapel and look to get off his knees. Because now Glenn has him in closed guard and he was in a better position to pass before, but didn't control Glenn good enough to stop him from improving his position. Aaron is attempting one of my favorite closed guard passes where you put your hands on the biceps and knee in the butt, but Glenn opens his guard anyways and Aaron just steps over to pass and then mounts him. As he gets mounted, Glenn should look to establish defensive hand positioning. Reaching up like this can lead you to being armbarred or your opponent establishing a higher mount. The higher mount they can get, the worse it is for you. Glenn turns to his side, which is often needed to escape, but he brings his right arm all the way to the other side with him. He should use that right elbow as a frame to stop Aaron from taking his back. Aaron has the rear naked choke, but risks Glenn escaping by hiding his back on the mat, so Aaron brings Glenn to the other side where it'll be easier to insert his other hook. Alright guys, thanks for watching and thank you to all my patrons who support the channel. I super appreciate you guys, and if you're still here, please leave a comment or fist bump, and I'll see you guys next time.